consecutive integer problems. You have a sheet with 17 problems on it. You need to do the first 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 sample problems on here, and I'm going to choose to do some of them that have the negatives, because I think those are going to be the ones that are more challenging for you. So I'm going to choose to do number 4, 3 consecutive integers whose sum is negative 54. You need to do them along with me. And I'm also going to do, let's see, I'll do 2 consecutive odd integers whose sum is negative 36. So first, number 4, 3 consecutive integers whose sum is negative 54. So this is how I want them done. 3 consecutive integers whose sum is negative 54. So here's my identified 3 consecutive integers. Remember, these are just regular consecutive integers. They're not even, they're not odd. So we're going to call the first one x. The one that is 1 greater, that comes right after x, is x plus 1. And the one that is 2 greater than x is x plus 2. It's 1 greater than x plus 1. X plus 2 is 1 greater than x plus 1, and it's 2 greater than just x. So now I'm going to combine my x's, and I'm going to get 3 x's, and combine my constants. And this is equal to negative 54, my problem says. But I'm still going to follow the pattern that I used with the sample problems on the previous 2 videos. Because I have addition here, I'm going to undo the addition. I'm going to do the inverse or the opposite, and I'm going to remove that 3 from the left-hand side of my equation. If I do that on the left, I have to do that on the right. Now be careful here. When I am subtracting and I'm using integers, I want to change this to an addition and this to its opposite, because now you can see that I'm actually adding like signs. So I'm adding like signs, and that means I simply add the numbers together and take the sign that is on both of the numbers. So this is negative 57. Over here, 3 x's. When I have 3 x's on the left and negative 57 on the right, I want to get this. I want to undo this multiplication by doing the opposite, which is division. So I'm going to divide by 3 on each side. Now that's a positive 3. So my answer down here is going to be negative, because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So when I get my answer, it's going to be negative. Here, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So my x, or my 1x, is going to be equal to whatever negative 57 divided by 3 is. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is negative 19. So my x is negative 19. Now, here's where you need to stop and think. This is 1 more than negative 19. So when I am on a number line, and I am at, say, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So let's say that I am at negative 4. What is 1 more than negative 4? Is it -5? Is it to the left? Is that greater on the number line? Or would it be to the right? Would it be -3? One more than -4. So you can think of it as -4 plus 1. -4 plus 1 is -3. So when I look up here and I know that this is -19, when I'm adding 1 to that, I am not going to get -20 because I'm not adding a -1, I'm adding a +1. So this should be -18. So down here when I write my equation and check it out, I should have -19 plus -18 plus -17. And I want to see if those are equal to -54. So when I add, I've got -10, -20, -30. And then when I add my ones, I have -8 and -7. That's -15. And then I have a -9 to add to that. Well, when I combine these together, I'm going to get -45 plus a -9. So I just combine my absolute values, 45 and 9, and that's 54, and I take the sign of each, which is -54. So these are my 3 values. My 3 consecutive numbers are -19, -18, and -17. That's number 4. So let's look down at number 10. Number 10 is asking for 2 consecutive odd integers whose sum is -36. So 2, I only need 2 of them, yay. Sum, I'm adding, but these are odd, so I'm going to be skip counting. So I'm going to start always with x, but this time instead of adding 1, I'm going to be adding 2 because I'm skipping the middle number, because that's what you do when you count by odds. Start with 1, you skip 2, you go to 3, you skip 4, you go to 5. But when I add them together, I have to get -36. So I'm going to combine my x's and get 2 x's plus 2 equals -36. Subtract 2 from each side. Now remember, when I subtract, I'm going to be adding the opposite. These are going to cancel. This is going to be a -38. Divide each side by 2. And I'm going to get that x is -19 again. -19 plus -19 is -38. So looking back at my equation, I have -19 plus, and we might just want to write this out, -19 plus 2. That's the value of my second number right here. -19 plus 2. So this is going to end up being -17 plus the original number I started with. Let's see if that equals -36. 10, 20, I'm looking at my tens, so I have -20, and then when I add my ones, I have -16. -20 plus -16, does that equal -36? Yes, it does. So I chose two problems that were possibly more challenging because they involved negatives and they also involved consecutive odd or even numbers that sum to a negative. Most of the ones that you have on here, well, about half of them, deal with negatives. Just make sure that when you are substituting your value back in, that you're adding that positive value to that. So it will look to you like these numbers are decreasing possibly. But remember, when you go to the right on a number line, the numbers get larger.